I read an article, a couple of them. These got sent to me whenever people found out that you're coming on every Tuesday. That I have to ask. What's that? What's that? His hands?
I'm just talking to Aaron. Yeah, keep going.
I just want to know about the alien thing. So everybody tweeted me because you and I share very similar views on a lot of things. It sounds like Ricky Gervais, The Office, Life, dropping dime socket signs. And by the way, UFOs, I am all in. This was a big story in your life because I get tweeted it probably, I don't know, 15 times a day. Ask him, ask him, ask him, ask him. What is your UFO experience? This is unbelievable. Every night I go out looking for one. Literally, I'm always like, come on, let me see something. Let me get it on camera. Let's have a night together, you and I.
You gotta call him in. Did you not watch CE5?
What do I got to say? I went Bigfoot hunting, and they told me just to yell as loud as I can. I went Bigfoot hunting with a deaf guy. By the way, Bigfoot hunting is like 90% audio, so going with a deaf guy is a problem. But if you want to tell me how I can call in an alien, I am here for it.
That can't be a real story.
Real story. He was in the hills of Georgia. He had Confederate flags all over him. It was kind of a sketchy situation. We went out into the woods. They had a Bigfoot caller. We didn't see shit or hear a damn thing, and the deaf guy's never heard a thing. Anyways, let's get to the UFOs. Hanley, please.
There's a documentary called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, I believe. It's about this organization that came out during quarantine that goes out and does these like circles where they call in UFOs, and they have video of it and all these different things. Anyway, long before this happened, 15 years ago, and I told the story on the Nerdist podcast with Pete Holmes, comedian friend of mine, but I told a story about how I was in New Jersey with a teammate of mine, Steve Levy, and Steve has been asked to, after I shared this on the podcast 5 years ago or so, he's been asked to verify my story, and thankfully he did.
Steve.
But it was him and his brother at their house in Jersey, and we saw a crazy thing in the sky that filled up most of the vantage point that we had. It was a snowy night. It was orange and moving in the clouds from left to right. And the bizarre part that was attached to it was that after it went out of sight and we were frozen looking at each other wondering what the hell just happened, about 30 seconds after that, we heard fighter jets. And if you've seen a flyover, or you watch Top Gun, or you've been to an air show, you know what that sounds like, the sound of a plane zipping by. It's undeniable. And there were 3 of them that seemed to be chasing whatever this was.
Oh my God. I'm so jealous.
And after that, I really got into researching that because we had this story that we couldn't explain that wasn't in the papers the next day, that wasn't in the papers the day after that was never really talked about. And so it was just something that I definitely got into and was interested more in, and I've done some research over the years. Had some other interesting experiences as well, but that was probably the most vivid and expansive interaction that never got talked about or explained.
What are those other interesting experiences?
Well, that's for another time, Pat.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, a man who I'm so jealous of this. Won a Super Bowl. I'm so jealous of this. A man who is potentially the best human to ever play the position he plays in the biggest league in the world, and a man who has seen a UFO in fighter jets. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you, man. Thanks for those exclusive stories that we won't hear ever. Have a good one, bub.
A good friend of mine, Steve Levy, who I actually saw a UFO with, whole nother story. But bringing all things together, I have no problem with Phil Simms, but he just misspoke, and that thing turned into a bigger deal than it ever needed to be.
Monday Night Football, Steve Levy and you saw a UFO together? I didn't know that.
It wasn't Monday Night Football. This is going way back to 2005. Years ago. I've talked about it on the Nerdist podcast with my buddy Pete Holmes. You can go back and watch that one if you want. If not, at some point I'll probably give you the shortened version of what happened.
Yeah, you were in New Jersey on the beach, saw an orange glow go across the sky, then you saw a bunch of fighter jets behind it. I didn't know Steve fucking Levy was there, dude.
Well, I don't know if you Steve Levy from Don Bosco Prep, Steve Levy from the California Golden Bears. Might not be the Steve Levy.
Not ESPN.
Oh, so it's not Monday Night Football, Steve Levy? Oh, okay.
It's not Monday Night Football, Steve Levy.
I was about to say, because you've said that you muted Monday Night Football every once in a while, and now I'm hearing you saw a potential alien with the guy. I'm like, what the fuck did Steve Levy do to you? That was, I'm sorry, different Steve Levy. Same name, different dude, aliens.
Yep. How you doing? Keep it moving, all right?
How big was the UFO? Is it like, hey, that's definitely a UFO? Did you think of that?
Next time, my friend. Next
like
time.
a Cessna.
Okay.
Was it big? Was it fast? What was it like?
Look, we got to keep it moving, man. This is not.
No, just tell me. I mean, I've been reading the 4 agreements. I think one of them was, hey, be sharp with the tongue or whatever. When you saw this alien and UFO.
That was one of them. I'll be sharp with the tongue. What are they right now?
Well, the thing about it is it's a wisdom book, and one of them is you got to be impeccable with your word. And whenever you're speaking, you got to understand that. And then when other people are speaking, you can't take anything personally because it's more about them than it is about you. And then you obviously don't make an ass out of you and me when you assume things. That is obviously number 3. And then always do your best, because why would you do anything other than that? Those are the 4 agreements, and that was great part of the 4 agreements, a Toltec wisdom book that I got a chance to read in the Aaron Rodgers book club that I never would have heard of before. What do you think the Toltec people would have said about that UFO you saw, though? They probably seen it. Was that thing fast? Was it flying? Did you see any humans? Did the UFO, was the fighter jets that were following it getting closer, or was it pulling away? Was it toying with each other? Were they dog fighting? What was going on in the sky when you saw this UFO?
A lot of UFO sightings down there. Toltecs, I'm sure, were very accustomed to interacting with beings from a different dimension or planet. It's kind of like Mars Attacks. Have you seen Mars Attacks?
Oh, classic.
I've not. Is that what the UFO looked like, though? If I watch that movie, I'll watch that. I'll read a book and then
That was it, yeah.
Do they have the book Mars Attacks? I'd rather read that now that I understand that the book is much better than the movie. You know what I mean? That's my new thing now that I'm part of the Aaron Rodgers book club.
Should I segue? That's my book of the...
Mars Attacks? You don't have it? You don't have it?